Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay. Thank you for attending these free online lessons by Acad Systems. And my name is Muhammad Bajuri. Okay. And today I will be presenting a feature in Revit called Steel Modifiers. Okay. And this free online lesson is actually meant for all Revit users, regardless you are new or expert in Revit. If you have been using Revit for years, then this is new features that is really good for structural modeling. Okay, so while waiting for other people coming in, so I'm going to introduce our website. Okay. Right, so for those who are still new with Acad Systems, so we are the Autodesk Goldpartner. If you use your web browser to go to acadsystems.com, and you'll be going to our homepage, and here you will find all information required regarding the Autodesk promotions. Okay, and you will also get to know our company further details and the list of free online lessons available in upcoming sessions. Okay, and if you have any issues or if you want to send out your inquiry to us, feel free to contact us through this website also can. So let's say you want to go to contact us. Okay. Okay, and fill up your name, company, email address, phone number. Okay, and then and then put your interest in what software, and just go on fill in the remarks for further information. And our team will get back to you immediately on the response. Right. So we now have around 14 participants today, so it's good numbers. Okay, thank you guys again for joining this session, free online lessons. Okay, and back to our free online lessons. Before we begin, let me run some background checking. So what is actually your background, your professional background? Okay, we have here the background from architecture, civil, in infra. We also got educator and students here. Okay, a few more votes coming. Right. Okay, thank you very much for your vote. Okay, and as a result, so most of you who joined today is having a background civil and infra, and some of you are from architecture and mechanical and also manufacturing lines, and some of you also came from education. So it's good to have multiple backgrounds to join this session. Okay, thank you very much for your answer. All right, so next thing, what we're going to do, we're going to jump into the topic again. Okay, and for new participants who just joined, so let me introduce again. So my name is Acad Bajuri, and today we'll be doing Steel Modifiers tool in Revit. And what's new with Autodesk? Okay, Autodesk has launched the new subscription plans that are based on people. Okay, it means that nowadays the plan is based on activating users by email and password. Okay, and what are the plans available? So we have the standard plan, premium, and enterprise and user plan. Okay, and what is retiring is the network maintenance, standalone maintenance, multi-users, and also multi-user subscriptions. Okay, and this plan, okay, actually designed for named users. Okay, so what is actually named users? So named users is a person who has been assigned to a product, to any Autodesk service or cloud service, and it will be assigned by the administrator. So it could be your IT, could be your purchaser, it could be your project manager, and so on. So what are the benefits of these new subscription plans, or we call it a name user plans? The main benefits is to optimize your license costs. You know, everyone have the visibility into your usage data, and you don't need to manage your own license server. If you were using network license before, you may have trouble to configure network license and so on. So by subscribing to this new plan, so everything will be coordinated and managed in our web browser only. And every seat is dedicated for users who really need it. Okay, so no more downtime waiting for license and so on. Okay, and if you wish to have further information on this name users, you can also go to our websites and go to news, okay, and find it in our Autodesk product serial numbers to them users. So we have all information required here for you to understand what is actually the new plans called name users. Right. Again, so the learning contents for today is we're going to run through a bit of steel framing method. Okay, we're going to go with steel column. Okay, we're going to go with steel beam, and how we're going to, and next how we're going to put a basic connection features in steel connection features in Revit. Okay, and then we will jump into steel modifier tools. So if you are using Revit 2019 and above, okay, and later, let's say 2019, 2020, and 2021, so you will be getting these new tools in the steel menu, and it calls a steel modifiers tool. So in the modifiers ribbon, you will see there is a shorten command, there is a contour cut command, corpse cube command, corner cut command, and also next to it, we've got the parametric cuts, scope, parametric miter, parametric cut through, and parametric cut by. So all of these features is really new. Previously, it was only available in Autodesk Advanced Steel. Okay, if you are steel fabricators, steel detailers, you may have heard about Autodesk Advanced Steel. Okay, and now the features are available in Revit 2019 and above. So, and today we will focus on 4 of the features, which is really the features that will be frequently using. This is a common features that I'm personally using it to ease up my structural modeling. So the main features that we will focus today is more to shorten modeling, shorten modifiers, contour cut, modifiers, okay, parametric scope, and also corner cut modifiers. Okay, and I will be showing you directly in by using Revit 2021. Okay, so this is the model that I created just for this free online lessons. So we have the basic column, basic beam. So I'm using the I-beam size of 356, 368, and then the beam is having a size of 406, 178. Okay, and then for those who are really new with Revit structure, so if you really want to go with modeling column and beam, so what you need to do first is to define your grid lines, okay, and you have to define your levels like this, okay, level 1, level 2, and level 3, okay, and then once you define levels and grid, so what you need to do is to put some columns whenever needed. For instance, if I'm using this grid line, create a new grid line, okay? And then if I want to put column, so what I need to do is to click on the structure menu, go to column, okay, and find your desired type. If you don't have the type on the list, then you can always load from the family libraries for every Revit version that you have, okay? And then just simply decide which levels that you wanted to go up to, right? So for instance, I'm going to place this column up to level 3, for instance. So then whenever you place the column here like this, then automatically in the Revit, it will place the models on the new grid also. Okay, and then if you want to create a new beam model, so what you need to do is to get the beam command here in the under structure menu. Okay, and same method by choosing the right size. Okay, and then what you need to do next is to draw the line from column to column. Then the beam will appear on levels that you are working in. Okay, just like this. Okay, and the thing that we will focus today is more to how actually we are going to make the steel modeling convenient and looks really better, look sharper than previous Revit version that we had. Okay, because previously without these tools, you were having issues on creating the angle cutting like this, okay, to put the connection, okay, and then if you want to further extend the structure with angles is also really difficult. That's why I was always using advanced steel for further detailing steels. But the issue is we want to maintain the model integrity in Revit format. So that is why this new features is really helpful for modelers, structural modelers, and any modelers related to structural. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to apply a standard connection. Okay, so if you go to the structure connection, we've got the structure connection here. We have a very small button called the connection settings. Okay, and then you have sets of connections ready. Then you can always click the add button so that it will go apply the connections into the project. Okay, and then let's say I'm choosing a beam city, gable with end plate and shape plate type, and then I'm going to click OK with that. And then what will happen next is if you run the connection command again, so all the connections will get into the list of properties type here. So beam city, gable, well, end type, and then the shape plate also. Okay, and how to apply the standard connection setting. So let's say I'm going to apply the connection setting for instance, for this beam and column. So what I need to do is to select the beam and column and go to structure model, structure menu, and then go to connection and pick the right connection for you to choose. Let's say you want to use the shape plate connection. Okay, and you're going to wait a while until it come up with the 3D connection in detail. And how I'm going to modify these connections is by going to edit type as usual. The way Revit work is by editing the type here. Okay, and then there is a modify parameters. Okay, and there are more parameters coming into the list. You can modify the cut and stiffness, column stiffness, beam stiffness, and so on. So let's say you want to place the plate and bolts. Okay, you want to modify the plate layout, for instance. So you can control it here. And what more important is how we're going to place out the bolts and nuts. Okay, so let's say I'm going to use horizontal bolts with 3 lines of horizontal bolts, okay, with the intermediate distance of let's say 90, okay, and we can also change the vertical bolt with 3 lines with start distance and intermediate distance. This is for instance, okay, and when you click OK, okay, and then you click apply, okay, and then you will get a new results of the connections for this shear plate. So as Revit works with duplicate, so you can always click the duplicate button if you want to create a new types of shear plate connection with different bolts, and nut setting, and plate size setting. So that is allowed to be used like other type of modeling. Okay, and you can, let's say I'm click OK. Okay, so the new features for steel connections, before we go further for this is also how we're going to modify the steel connections. Okay, and in order for you to implement the same connections to other places, is, let's say if every point is identical, okay, what you need to do is you're going to click on the connection and find the propagate connection. So once you click the propagate connections, so you will see there are other places that will be loaded with this connection also. Okay, as you can see here, okay, this is loaded the same with the same connection that we set earlier with the shear plate type. Okay, if you have more features, then we will also repeat the same process. You have options to delete it if you don't want to use this kind of connections. Okay, and then if you want to modify some of these, then you need to repeat the propagate features again. Okay, so this is a new features for to speed up your structural detailing modeling in Revit, okay, and without you having to copy the connections to one point to another point, okay. That may be applicable to you or may not. So if it's applicable, then you can use it. Only applicable in Revit 2020 and above, okay. And to modify, so let's say I'm going to modify, I'm going to implement the steel. We're going to create some girder structure here. So let's say I'm going to copy the levels, copy the roof structure, the girder structure from one point to another point. Okay. And you will see there is, it also copy the modifier. So I'm going to delete it. Okay. Right. So, or let's say if you want to create a new one. Okay, and this is the gable structure that I made so that I can show you how we're going to use the steel modifiers. Okay, right. So let's say you are working with this kind of structure, and then I would highly suggest you to enable the structural framing. So where to find the structural framing is by going to view menus, elevation and framing elevations. So let's say I'm looking at this grid line, okay, and we go to elevation view, find this enhance the detail level to find. Okay, right. So this is the basic structure without modifying tools implemented in this. So by having this steel, let's say the first command that we're going to use is shorten. This is a very famous command for steel. So what we need to do, why we need to use shorten? Because if I implement this command and pick at the end point of the column or the beam, okay, and it will have these indicators saying that the modifiers is being implemented, okay, and then so what you need to do next is to pick by pressing tab a few times until you can pick the modifiers indicator, and then you can go to properties and define the length. So if you put 0, it will go to the point where the model started. Let's say this point is 0, and if you put let's say the value of 200, for instance, so it will go back to 200 from the starting point, okay? Because this is the shorten menu, positive value means you increase the shorten distance, okay? Right. So if you want to extend the distance, so you need to put the negative value. Okay. So don't ask me why Autodesk is doing this way, because logically this is the shorten menu. So this is not a lengthened menu. So this makes it sounds really different. So let's say I'm gonna put the lines. So let's say I'm putting like negative 1000. Okay, like this. Okay, so it will extend 1000 from the starting point here. So we have also the options to set the angle along height and width. So what does it mean by height and width is the steel structure that we're using. So the width is the vertical position here, and the height is how we're going to view the vertical, the width is the horizontal position, and then height is the vertical position of the steel. So we're going to change. So let's say we put some angle in height. So let's see what will change. So let's say the angle of the slope is 20, okay? And if I put 20, if the slopes or the angle turns the other way that you don't want, you can always put negative value 20. So it will turn back to straight line here, so that you can put your drainage or U-drain or anything like related to downpipe, so whatever that you want to put on that point, right? So if you change the angle along with width, so let's see what will happen. Okay, this is the thing that will happen if you change the angle along the width. Okay, so it will rotate the angle horizontally to match based on the value that you enter. So let's say you want to put the negative value, so you also just work the same for the other way. Okay, and this is how you're going to manage the end treatment for steel. So let's say I'm back to 0, so that this is going to be applied for most of the places. Okay, so let's say for the center point, the reach cap position here. So let's say you want to merge, you want to use the still shorten command. Okay, you can put 0 because you want it back to center, and then you want it to be 20° along height. Okay, if that's going the other way around, then put negative value. Okay, same like this shorten for this side. Okay, I'm putting 0, and I'm putting if 20 doesn't give you the result that you want, I'm putting negative 20. Okay, and if it doesn't meet your point, what you can do is select the still modifiers indication. Then you can still insert the value here. Let's say negative 50. So it will extend the point. You can also press tab a few times until you can pick the still modifier indicator. So this is how we're going to use the still shorten modifiers. Okay, and the next thing to do is how we're going to apply. Okay, how we're going to apply a contour cut. So why we need contour cut here? Okay, back to Revit. So let's say you have something that you need to create voids across the structural framing. For instance, you are having some things that is clashing with this steel beam, and you need to create void so that it will solve the clash issues. So what you need to do with this, if you want to apply contour cut, is by going to run the command contour cut, and then you're going to pick the surface. So for instance, this surface is this way. Okay, and what you need to do next is to pick the draw tools. Okay, sorry, and it means that you pick the wrong surface. Then we have to run it again. Okay. Okay, then there you go, your surface. So this is the modeling in 3D, so that's why it has less accuracy. So what you need to do is go to front 2D view or any kind of section view to work with. So I'm doing this because to make it clear on how it works, and then click finish, then it will automatically create voids. So for whatever structure that it has here, so it will allow the items to be voided, okay, and then the clash will be solved. Okay, this is how we're going to use the contour tool. So it may be applicable on this case, and sometimes you can also use the contour cut to cut on the endpoint of the beam. But for beam endpoint treatment, I'm going to use the other method. Okay, for instance, let's say let me do the modeling by using the beam system. Okay, and I'm gonna use maximum spacing with 1.5, for instance. Okay, and I'm gonna use the universal beam type. Okay, this. Okay, and then click finish. Beam directions. Beam directions. Sorry. Right. So let's say this is the supporting beam that I made by using beam system. Okay, and then if you want to run the end treatment of the beam, okay, let's say you want to create a code to make sure it has the clear connections or clear length of the beam. So then you can run the parametric code here. And then what you need to do is just selecting the beam, both beam, by pressing Control and then press Enter. Okay. So what will happen next is it has the automatic or parametric connection cut. And then what you can do is if you want to edit the parameters, then you can go to properties and find detail parameters and hit the edit button. And you can define the distance web, distance flange, inner distance flange, sides, and radius. Okay, and then you can just enter the value here. So let's say number 1 distance web. In the diagram, you will see what is actually number 1 stands for, and number 2, 3, and so on. So let's say I'm going to increase the distance flange sides to 15, for instance. That depends on your steel spec, okay? And then it will automatically reflected with the model, okay? And then you will see it is updated like this. And by having this as a parametric cut, it means that it allows you to propagate the connection. So any other place with same size of beam and same behavior, beam behavior, so will be applied with the same connections by using the propagate connection. So that saves a lot of time for you to speed up the modeling process. So by having this end treatment, so you will have a code cut for end point of your beam, smooth, really smooth. The shape is really smooth because you can control the parametric. Okay. All right. So what's next is how we're going to use the corner cut. So to use corner cut is by placing some sort of customized beam. Okay, for instance, if you want to place a customized beam like this, so let's say I'm showing again this method. Okay, so if you want to apply the custom plate, for instance, we have also this plate bolts and welds features in fabrication elements ribbon. So if you want to click at the plate, for instance, okay, plate command, and then what you need to do is to set the work plane just like you did with any other Revit modeling. Pick a plane, and I'm going to pick this surface, top surface of the column. Then what we'll do next is to create a plate shape. So in this case, I'm just going to draw the rectangle shape. Okay, this is the custom shape of your plate. Then just click finish when you're done. And then to modify the thickness, so you can define in the properties thickness. Let's say you want to go with 15. Okay, you can define the structural material. Okay, and then you can also define the coating, one layer coating, anodized, or whatever that is applicable for your project, painted. Okay, so this is the way we create our own custom plate. And if you want to run the corner cut like this command, so what you need to do is to corner cut. Okay, pick the plate, and then it will brings you the cutting edge here with properties available on the left side. So you have to define what is type of corner cut that you want, convex, concave. Okay, so this is for detailed treatment for plates, for straight. Okay, you can also define the lengths for side 1 and side 2. So let's say I'm making it 50, for instance, and 50 on the other side. So this will be applied for this particular plates only. So this is how we're going to detail up. So you have to repeat the process just to make it to make the models really nice, really sharp, following your spec. And this is from this model, then you can then generate the short drawing for steel structure and so on. So so just to recap, this is the features that we were using in this free online lesson is how we're going to apply the shorten commands, how we're going to use contour cut, corner cut, and code. So the rest, it is quite also good for your modeling skills. Okay, but in my opinion, the most features that we'll be using is these 4: shorten, contour cut, corner cut, code, because in Malaysia we don't really go with really complex steel shape. Okay, and if you do the complex session, you can just explore the features in further detail, or you can drop us your inquiry and come to our training center to learn more about how you're going to model steel structure in Revit for advanced level. Okay, so this is all. If you have any questions for today's lesson, you can always drop the questions in the chat room. Okay, feel free to ask your questions. And while waiting for the questions, let us go to our website again and see if you have any inquiries on anything related to Autodesk or sales or technical. You can always go to our help desk, okay, for support. Okay. Okay, and then you can just continue as guest. Then you have to fill up your informations like name, okay, like subject, or what kind of error. Let's say you have a structural model error. Okay, don't forget to provide your email. Okay, then your company and for the description. So you have to tell us in detail, and don't forget to put the category KL or Penang. So for those who company station in North, so you can have, we have a Penang branch working at Penang, and then we don't forget to put the priority, put the height if it's really important. Then our team, sales or technical, will get back to you immediately. So, is there any questions from you guys? So feel free to ask any questions in the chat room here. So if you don't or still writing it, while waiting for the questions, let me run some another polls for you to answer. So I need to know your satisfactions, okay? Whether you can use this knowledge for your work, okay? And will you recommend our free online lesson to your friend, okay? So if it's yes, then it's good, because this free online lesson will be held on weekly basis with different topics in different industries. Okay, we have multiple softwares that will be showing all features, updates, and so on. Okay, a few more seconds left for you to answer this poll. All right, thank you very much for the answers. Okay, and I'm glad it's all positive came from you. Okay, and if you require to learn more about other software, feel free to visit our website for next event. Okay, so next free online lessons topic is let's say we go to this sorry. Okay, so next topic will be the road design with Autodesk InfraWorks. Will be hosted by my colleague, okay, on next Tuesday on 13th of October. Okay, and we'll focus on the Autodesk InfraWorks, on how we're going to utilize InfraWorks for road design. Okay, and for those who already have the AEC collections in your company, so InfraWorks is actually the features that is included in AEC collections, but most people are not keen to use this InfraWorks, okay, because we have less knowledge on it. And we also have next topic on rebar, AutoCAD script files, and so on. So feel free to visit our website for more events. Thank you very much. If you don't have any question, we shall end the sessions now, okay? And thank you very much for your time again. Bye.